What is it?
Kind of hop nappy. Welcome back to another episode of Uncovering Your Roots, Genealogy 101 with the Autonomous Party. And I am your host, Opemiha. So as you can see on the screen, we're going to dive back in. This will be part 4 of the Land and Acres edition. So what I did was I wanted to jump to the last half of the list, and then we're work our way back up to the beginning. But I want to kind of take my time with this one and go through some of this. There's going to be some clips in here, some things that I want you guys to watch. And also, again, like I said at the last part of the last episode, I want you guys to pay attention when we're reading off the information. Again, the amount of land, the dates, obviously the family surnames, and know where this is actually taking place. So also keep in mind that when you see these surnames, any of the variation of the spelling of the surnames, I want you to also keep that in mind. So again, let's go ahead and jump into it. I'm not going to keep you here all day. So the first family that we're going to get into is the Wells family. So I'm going to read this information. The way I usually like to do this is, I just get into the first sentence where, it lists the amount of land, or the first paragraph. All right. So first here we have Ann Wells, and it says she was born, say, 1750, was a Northampton County, North Carolina taxable on an assessment of, it looks like it says 100 pounds in 1780. It says she received a grant for 128 acres in Northampton County on Corduroy Swamp on October 9th, 1783. So let's go ahead and skip to the next person, or the next information where it lists the acres. Okay, so let's scroll up a little bit and we're going to see who this is. So this is the Wharton family, so hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. But let's jump in and see who we got this time. So this is going to be Jacob Wharton, born, say, 1750, a free mulatto, taxable in Bertie County, in Martha Hinton's household. In the list of Josiah Harrell in 1769. He enlisted in Blount's company on July 20th, 1778. So more than likely, he was probably signing up for the Revolution. It says for 9 months, and then right here in these brackets, you can see it'll give you the actual source where you can find this information. All right, so Jacob Wharton's, it says his heirs received military warrant number 132 for 640 acres on December 12, 1806. And then down here it says North Carolina and Tennessee Revolutionary War land warrants 1783 to 1843, roll number 13. William Hill warrants 1811 to 1837, survey orders. It says NOS 1-3992. Again, so if this is your family, this is a source where you can find this information, where you need to be digging in and finding out if this land is still available. Did they ever claim it? Whatever you need to do. All right, let's go on to the next person. You see what this is. So this is going to be, let's see who we got here. So it looks like this is going to be the Whistler family. So I'm going to scroll up here just to make sure. Yeah. So this is the Whistler family. All right. So you're seeing this real time, me going through this. So let's go ahead and check it out. So it says Alexander or Sawney, born about 1762, enlisted in a substitute for a year in the Revolution from Middlesex County on February 11, 1782, and was sized the same day. He was age 20, 5'4.5", high, black complexion, a farmer, born in Middlesex County. And then again, in brackets, you're going to see where you can find the source on this information. So it's the Chesterfield supplement for a sized row of troops at Chesterfield Courthouse, Library, Virginia, accession number 23816. By, and if you click on this link, if you go to freeafricanamericans.com and go to this Whistler family, you'll see this hyperlink. Click on that, it'll take you to this row. All right, again, it says he received a warrant for 200 acres in 1784, which he signed to Richard Smith on July 30th, 1790 something. Again, you can see in brackets where you can find this information. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on to our next person. So next we have the Wilkins family, it looks like. Yep, the Wilkins family. So Thomas Wilkins, born say 1700, was granted 225 acres on the south side of the Nottoway River in Alawite County on June 5th, 1736. Okay, it says he, making his mark, sold this land while resident in Edgecombe County, North Carolina, to his son William Wilkins on August 27, 1746, with James Wilson also making his mark as witness. Okay, then next it says Alawite County, and this is our source in the brackets. Okay, so you can look up this information. All right, so it goes on to say he sold 300 acres in present-day Halifax County, North Carolina, on the south side of the Roanoke River, adjoining Quanky, Pocosin, about 1726, to Paul Bunch, Halifax County. Again, here we go with the brackets, and that's our source. All right, so let's skip on down to our next one. So next we got Jonas Wilkins. All right, so Jonas Wilkins, born say 1750, was granted 400 acres of land in Halifax County, North Carolina, adjoining Benjamin and William Richardson on October 7, 1783, and sold this land on June 11, 1788. Again, in brackets, look up this information, copy, paste it, put it in a Google search, whatever you need to do. He entered 150 acres on the south side of Jacob Swamp, including the plantation then occupied by James Moore in Robeson County on September 5th, 1787. Again, copy and paste this information that you see in brackets so you can find the source. It was head of a Robeson County household of 6 other free in 1800. All right, so let's continue on. A lot of great information in these, so I would definitely advise people to read this. All right, so it looks like we have gotten to a John Williams, so we must be into the Williams family, possibly. So let's check this out and see exactly what we got going on here. So it says he left a December 18th, 1804 Southampton County will, approved February 18th, 1805, by which he lent his wife Mary 100 acres of land where he was then living. And then after her death, it was to pass on to his grandson Anthony Williams. All right, so let's move on. Let's see who we got here. So this is going to be Edith Willis. So I'll start here so we can kind of get, an idea of what's going on. So Edith Willis, born, say, 1730, was apparently the slave of Thomas Ladd, since he emancipated her son David Willis by deed proved in Charles City County Court on August 7, 1782. And then here in the brackets it says Willis, Davy, deed of emancipation 1802, African American narrative, digital collection, Library of Virginia. So if you want to look up this information, this is where you can go and find it. It says Edith was taxable in Charles City County on a horse in 1788, and taxable with Betty Willis on 110 acres near the Quaker Meeting House from 1788 to 1799. All right, so let's skip to our next one here. So it looks like we're still with the Willis family. All right, so it says Betty taxable in New Kent County on 2 horses in 1788 and 2 horses and a slave in 1789. Again, in brackets, you got your source. We got taxable in Charles City County with Edie Willis on 110 acres from 1788 to 1799. Taxable with Jess Willis on 110 acres from 1800 to 1815. All right, let's skip to our next one. And this is still the Willis family. Okay, so this is a continuation. And taxable on 1 tithe in 1804 and 1805. On April 14th, 1813, she was living in Henrico County when she and Jess Willis of Charles City County made a deed of trust for 56 acres adjoining Joseph Crew, Francis Dixon, and John Crew's estate to secure a debt of $34 they owed Ann Ladd. All right. And on April 21st, 1815, they made a deed of trust for the same land to secure a debt of $77 they owed George Hubbard. And it says on September 27th, 1815, Elizabeth sold 53 acres adjoining the land of John Crew, deceased, to Jess Willis for $125. All right, so let's go ahead and skip forward. All right, so we got Jess. So Jess was just mentioned above with Betty Willis. So we kind of went over this 110 acres already. Yeah, so we went over this information a few seconds ago. So we're going to go ahead and skip forward. All right, so we are covering, looks like, the Wilson family. Just make sure. Yeah. All right, so we got Thomas Wilson of Bertie County, North Carolina, born, say, 1715, purchased 183 acres on the north side of the Cassie River in Bertie County, North Carolina, from William Levener on April 26, 1756. Again, in brackets, there's your source. He was called a shoemaker when he sold 80 acres of this land to his son. All right. And that would be Edward Wilson, who we're going to get into next. So Edward, born, say, 1738, purchased 80 acres in Bertie County at the mouth of Plumtree Branch of Cashy Swamp from Thomas Wilson by deed of July 10th, 1759, witnessed by Embry Bunch. All right. And it goes on to say he was a free male mulatto, and Jonathan Staley, 1764, Bertie tax list, taxed with his mulatto servant, John Cobb, and taxed with his brother, James Wilson, and Jonathan Stanley, 1767 list. And it says Embry Bunch was also taxed in Stanley's list. In a household nearby, he purchased 20 acres on the north side of the Cashy Swamp between his own line and Bunches from David Stanley on May 22nd, 1786, and another 56 acres between Carnaritza Swamp and Mill Branch and Bertie near Jonathan Staley's on September 8th, 1795. All right. Let's see here. So we just read that information. Let's see who we got here. All right, so we're getting into Surrey and Isle of Wight, and we're still with the Wilson family counties. So Thomas Wilson, born say 1737, was among 14 free African Americans who presented by the Surrey County, Virginia court on November 21st, 1758, for failing to pay tax on their wives. He may have been the Thomas Wilson Jr. who purchased 200 acres on the south side of the Cypress Swamp, bounded by Spratley's Branch and Great Branch in Surrey County on November 20th of 1759, and sold this land on January 19th, 1762. So again, I hope you're paying attention to these dates. Okay, so a lot of these dates are way before the Revolutionary War, just to kind of give you a timestamp, and that's key. All right, so let's move on to our next one. See who we got here. Okay, so now we've gotten into the Winborn family. All right, so looks like we're going to be, let's see here who we're covering. Thomas Winborn. Okay, so it says Thomas Winborn was counted in the 1790 census for Halifax County, living in a household nearby Benjamin James. He purchased 25 acres on Little Swamp in Halifax County on March 2nd, 1818 for $113, and 100 acres in Halifax County from Mark Murray on May 15th, 1823 for $62. He left a March 15th, 1829 Halifax County will, proved August 1829, by which he left 148 acres to his heirs, who were his wife Esther, his brother David, his grandnephew John, Henry Winborn, son of Thomas Jr., and Willie Winborn, son of Nancy Winborn. All right, so let's keep it moving. All right, our next person is going to be David Winborn. David Winborn, born before 1776, was head of a Halifax County household of 11 other free in 1810 and 9 free colored in 1820. He received 50 acres by the November 15th, 1815 Halifax County will of his mother-in-law, Lucy Murray, proved in August 1816. All right, let's move on. Who do we have here? So this is going to be, okay, so we've gotten into the Womble family. So John Womble. All right, so it says his wife Catherine was one of the siblings of Jacob Green, deceased, who petitioned the Edgecombe County Court to divide 91 acres of his land in November 1804. Again, here in brackets is where you can find the source on this. John was head of an Edgecombe County household of 1 other free in 1790 and 11 free colored in 1820. All right, it says he owned 75 acres on August 25th, 1818, when he made his pension application in Edgecombe County Court, listing his family then living with him: wife Catherine, 41 years old, Nathaniel, 18, Benedy, 14, twins Jacob and Ajax, 10, Benjamin, 8.5, Enos, 7, John Washington, 5.5, and Catherine, 2.5. All right. Let's keep it moving. All right, so looks like we have gotten to the Wynn family. Yep. So as you can see, there's different ways to spell it, but it's the same family. I just want to make that clear. All right, so Gloucester Wynn, born say 1727, may have been identical to Gloucester Wynn, whose Negro slave Burnett was a judge by the Caroline County Court on July 8, 1748, to be 10 years old. Gloucester was taxable in King William County from 1782 to 1788. Taxable on 200 acres from 1782 to 1787. All right. And let's move on from him. This may be, yeah, this is still Gloucester. All right, so Gloucester Wynn's orphans were taxable in King William County on 77.5 acres from 1792 to 1799. All right, let's skip forward. And yes, okay. All right, so his widow, Sarah Wynn, was taxable in King William County from 1790 to 1811, taxable on 5 slaves in 1790, 8 in 1791, 4 slaves from 1792 to 1810, but not listed in 1811. Taxable on 179.5 acres, which had been transferred to her from Gloucester Wynn from 1792 to 1811, and also taxable on 46.5 acres as guardian to Nancy, Charity, and Ham Wynn in 1800. All right. Let's see who we got here. So this is going to be, okay, looks like this is going to be William Wynn. Let's see what we got on William. Okay. So William, born about 1761, taxable in King William County from 1784 to 1817, taxable on his own tithe and a slave under the age of 16 in 1784, taxable on his own tithe in 1791, taxable on 4 slaves over the age of 16 in 1797, taxable on 4 slaves in 1809, 3 in 1810, 6 in 1811, listed as a mulatto in 1813, and taxable on 25 acres in 1798, 15.5 acres in 1800, and 1801. All right, on December 3rd, 1798, he purchased from Curtis Wynn 15.5 acres in St. David's Parish in King William County, as well as Curtis's rights to his mother's dower land for 15 pounds. On January 4th, 1800, he and his wife, Caddy, making her mark, sold 15.5 acres allotted to him in the division of his father's estate to Oni Wynn for 30 pounds. All right. And let's see what we got here. All right, looks like it continues on. Let's see what we got here. Okay. 15.5 acres in 1800 and 1801. Let's see, 1787, page 30, 1797, page 16. So this is the land tax list, 1782 to 1832. Then it says on December 3rd, 1798, he purchased from Curtis Wynn 15.5 acres in St. David's Parish in King William County. Okay, so we read, yeah, looks like we went over that part. So let's continue on. All right, so who do we have here? All right. Just trying not to read the same things over and over here. All right. So this is going to be, looks like George Wynn. Let's see. So It says he owned a tract of land in King William County on December 3rd, 1798, which he received by division of the land of his father, Gloucester Wynn. In brackets shows the record book, the source. He was taxable on 15.5 acres from 1800 to 1811. And he was in Natchez, Mississippi on August 22nd, 1815, when he gave Philip Aylett and John Roan power of attorney to sell his land and slaves bequeathed to him by his father, Gloucester Wynn. All right, that's interesting. All right, so let's see. We still on George. Okay. So let's see what else we got. On November 4th, 1815, he purchased 500 acres on the Mississippi River for $1,000. All right, that's 500. All right, let's see what we got next. So next we got Oni Wynn, taxable on 31 acres in King William County from 1800 to 1810, taxable on 46.5 acres in 1811, taxable on a horse from 1809 to 1811, taxable on a slave in 1811, listed as a mulatto in 1813. It says Oni, it says she married a Pamunkey Indian, and this is where you can find this information. All right, so let's move on. Next we have Polly Wynn, taxable in King William County on 15.5 acres from 1800 to 1811, taxable on a horse in 1809, in 1810, taxable on a slave in 1811, listed as a mulatto in 1813. Again, here in brackets is your source information. On July 27th, 1812, she purchased 46.5 acres adjoining Elizabeth Wynn, Oni Wynn, and George Wynn from Henry Wheatley for 58 pounds, which was land his wife received by her father's estate. And on December 20th, 1813, she purchased 113 acres adjoining Wynn's Corner from Larkin Cottrell for $121.50. All right. And we'll probably wrap it up after we get through the Wynn family here. All right. Let's see. All right, let's hit Betty. So Betty, this is going to be Betty Wynn, taxable in King William County on 15.5 acres from 1802 to 1811, taxable on a slave and 3 horses from 1809 to 1811, listed as a mulatto in 1813. Next we got let me see here. Here we go. Nancy Wynn, taxable in King William County on 15.5 acres from 1802 to 1811. All right. And next we have, let's see here. Just making sure I'm not skipping anybody. Charity Wynn, taxable on 15.5 acres in King William County from 1802 to 1811. Next is Ham Wynn, born about 1784, taxable in King Williams County on 15.5 acres from 1802 to 1811. Let's see if we got any more wins in here that we need to cover. I don't think we do, but I just want to make sure here. Okay, Curtis. So Curtis Winborn, say 1777, was taxable in King William County from 1800 to 1820. And it says on December 3rd, 1798, he and his wife Clary Wynn sold to William Wynn for 15 pounds the 15.5 acres of land in St. David's Parish, King William County. All right, let's move on. Now, it looks like we're getting into the North and South Carolina winds. Let's see if we have any information about land here. We do. Okay, so this is going to be Zachariah Wynn. It says he was head of an Anson County household with one other free in 1790 and 8 whites in Darlington District, South Carolina in 1800. He was granted 77 acres in Darlington District on September 2nd, 1805, and purchased another 95 acres there on March 11th, 1807. All right, let's move on. See if we have anyone else. Okay. So that was the Wynn family. So as you can see, we went through a few different families there. But again, I hope you were paying attention to, again, the dates. That's very important. The surnames, very important. And the location. All right. So if you also paid attention, we were in some areas where, you know, again, this is the South, where slavery was supposed to be very heavy. We have lots of accounts of free people of color buying land, selling land, having slaves. I mean, you've seen it all when I was reading through this. So again, if these are your people, I showed you the sources. The website here is freeafricanamericans.com. We are in the Weeks through Young surnames. Weeks through Young is a section of the surnames that we just went through over the land and acres. So definitely check that out. Again, my name is Opemiha, and this was Uncovering Your Roots with the Autonomous Party Genealogy 101 Land and Acres edition. And I will see everyone next time. Take care of yourself. Peace.
Okay, this is not like the Washington Post, New York Journal, or whatever, you know. There's no paper out here in the country that's being delivered to the doorstep. You know, ain't no ball riding no bicycle throwing no paper on the front porch down here.